2 years after the black American was murdered by a white police officer on a Minneapolis street, President Joe Biden signs an executive order further regulating federal law enforcement. U.S. President Biden has signed an executive order to reform federal and local policing on the second anniversary of the custodial killing of George. Biden signed the order on Wednesday, implementing sweeping reforms for federal law enforcement, including a body camera mandate, and the creation of a misconduct date. I just signed an executive order that delivers the most significant police reform in decades. It will increase accountability, ban chokeholds, restrict no-knock entries, and more for federal law enforcement officers, and it incentivizes state and local officers to do the same. The decision reflects Biden's struggle to use the limited powers of his office to advance his campaign promises, as well as his attempt to strike a balance between police and civil rights groups at a time when rising concerns about crime are eclipsing calls for reform. The order requires federal law enforcement to review and revise policies on the use of force, and it would restrict the flow of surplus military equipment to. In addition, it would encourage limitations on chokeholds and no-knock warrants by attaching strings to federal funding. 2 years after Floyd's killing. Floyd's killing on May 25, 2020, in Minneapolis sparked massive protests against racism and police brutality that spread across the United States. Floyd, an African American, was murdered by a police officer who knelt on his neck for nearly 10 minutes during an. To heal as a nation, we must acknowledge that fatal encounters with law enforcement have disproportionately involved black and brown people, the White House said. The text, which has taken months to work out, provides for a series of measures that will concern federal law enforcement. The executive order establishes a national database of police misconduct, mandates the use of body-worn cameras, and bans, in all but the most exceptional of cases, the use of chokeholds and carotid restraint. But these restrictions will not be imposed on states and local authorities, which in the United States have very extensive police and judicial powers. For that, it would take a law, passed by Congress, which the Democratic president has